an exhortation from an old man, you know, and Philippians chapter 3, beginning with verse 12 to 21. Now, the church in Philippi is the first church that was founded in Europe. So, if you read the book of Philippians, you will find so many firsts in those letters. It is the first church in Europe. When Paul was in Philippian jail, they hold the first concert in Europe. Remember, when they were inside the jail, what happened? They started singing and praising God, and there was an earthquake. And the Philippian jailer came up to Paul and Silas and says, "What must I do to be saved?" And Paul said, "Believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, and you will be saved." So amazing, if you read the book of Philippians, you will find many firsts in that book. The first church in Europe. Actually, Paul had no intention of going to Europe. His desire was to reach the whole of Asia. But one night, in a dream, there was this man from Macedonia. There was this man from Macedonia who was telling him to come. To come. And so instead of turning east, he turned west. And as a result, he went to Europe. And the first city that he came upon was the city of Philippi in Europe. And so you could just imagine, if Paul did not go to Europe, it will be Asians who will be going to Europe as missionaries. But instead, because Paul turned west, many churches were founded in Europe, and so the churches that were founded sent missionaries to America and then to Asia. And so what if Paul did not go to Europe? What if Paul evangelized the whole of Asia, so it will be Asians instead who will go to Europe and the West to preach the good news of salvation? But that's what happened. Because of that incident of the man from Macedonia in Greece who was telling Paul to come over and preach the good news of salvation. And so instead of turning east and going to Asia Minor, he went to Europe and founded the first church in Europe, which is the church in Philippi. That was a short story, but you learned something about the church in Philippi. But let's look at Philippians chapter 3. In the context of Philippians chapter 3, you will find in this letter that Paul was inside prison when he wrote this letter. He's an old man by this time and awaiting possible execution. Remember, he was jailed because of preaching the gospel, because of preaching the good news of salvation that Jesus Christ died for sinners. And because of his preaching, there was chaos in the marketplace. And so, Paul and Silas were thrown into jail. And as a result, while inside the jail, they begin to sing and praise and thank God for that, and there was an earthquake, and the Philippian jailer was converted. Now, after so many years, he was back again to Rome. He was arrested and thrown into jail, and he wrote the letter of Philippians to the people who are in Philippi. And so it is an exhortation of an old man to the people in Philippi. And if you will look at the book of Philippians, the letter to the Philippians, it is a letter of joy. Prominent in the whole of the letter word rejoice, be joyful. So instead of people outside the jail who should encourage Paul, it is Paul who was inside jail encouraging the people outside to rejoice in the Lord. Now, here in this part of the letter, he will tell the people about something that they must continue if they are to grow in the knowledge of the Lord Jesus Christ. And here is an exhortation from an old man. Now, many people today make a couple of mistakes as they get older, or as we get older. That includes myself. The first thing that people today make mistake is that they deny or they try to disguise that they are getting older. Are you one of those who try to deny or disguise that you are getting older? That's why, when we try to disguise or deny that we are getting older, we try to use anti-wrinkle cream, to smoothen our skin, we call that the oil of delay. We call that the oil of delay. Oil of olay, people call it the oil of delay. Because they try to delay their age by using anti-wrinkle cream. And sometimes when people take notice of our wrinkles, we deny that those are wrinkles, and we say that they are just only expression lines. So we don't say that they are wrinkles, but they are what we call expression lines. Now, the second mistake we make is in thinking that when we get older, we will be relieved of responsibility. I think that's what my wife is thinking. Now that I am retired, I will be relieved of responsibility. Oh, vacation time, I can sleep, and no one will tell me that it's time to get up and cook breakfast. It's my time to relax. Vacations are great. Oh, it's great to be retired. But I think, and I will tell this to my wife, but I think if we are not careful, it would get boring after a while. It will get boring after a while. So instead of retiring with a purpose, we become retarded. We become retarded in our growth because there's no purpose anymore of growing. One man said, I get up in the morning and go out and read newspaper, and I read the obituary, and if my name is missing, I know I'm not dead. And so I eat good breakfast and get back to bed. That's one thing I notice about me. I always open the obituary now. That's actually part of my reading right now. So I'd like to read the obituary, and it's fun, it's fun, and not that you want to see people dead, but you just want to read what, about all those praise and acknowledgement, about this person, what he or she had accomplished in life, But I know my name is not yet in the orbit, and therefore I go on and move on with my life, and I'm still alive. And so our text this morning is Philippians chapter 3, verses 12 to 21. Paul knew that his life is winding down. His life is winding down. He's awaiting execution. And so, it is important what he has to say about life. And the first thing he told the Philippian Christians is this, that you must forget what is past. You know? And he said, brothers, I do not consider myself yet to have taken hold of it, but one thing I do, forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead. And so, the first thing he told the Philippian Christians is to forget what is past. Do not bask in it. Do not dwell on your attainments, he said.